Hey everyone, it's UA from the Strictly Broken YouTube channel, and as you can see by the setup, we are doing something a little bit different here. There's probably not going to be, that many cuts, maybe none at all. And what's going down is, so the topic of the video is I'm going to be just giving my 2 cents on Vanguard and its actual collector's market, the collectability of it. In recent times, everyone's seeing the Pokemon, the Yu-Gi-Ohs, the Magics, and they want to, start collecting Vanguard. And, I have some of my thoughts on that. I'm gonna be sharing that throughout this video. But the reason we have TCG Player opened up is right after I share my thoughts, maybe it'll take a few minutes, we're going to deep dive into some of the old Vanguard sets and see what's actually going down price-wise over there. As you guys know, I work at a card store, but I have very little involvement with pricing, especially Vanguard. And I just don't know a lot of the old stuff. Like if we have stuff in, I don't even know what we have. If we have to price stuff, I have no clue what we're getting in. So I actually never look at old Vanguard cards, to be honest, unless it's Pale Moon. So this is going to be fun for everyone. This is the first time me looking at some of the old stuff and seeing if there's already like a little bit of collector waves going down. So the topic first piqued my interest when I was watching this Card Fight Con panel. Shoutouts to whichever channel runs the Card Fight Con. It was pretty cool stuff. Like y'all should all check it out. And the panel was a vendors panel, and they were talking about how they started seeing some waves of collectability in Card Fight Vanguard, some of the old stuff. And this directly contrasts this other video I watched, Solemn Vanguard's video. I'm not a big Solemn Vanguard viewer, but I'm more of a fan of his Yu-Gi-Oh stuff. But he made a very he made a video about Vanguard collectability market that I think takes the stance that it is way too early, and it's just way too high risk for people. And I'm not butt buddies with Solemn, but I do know him a little bit. I do find that in his YouTube content, especially, he's clearly like a risk averse kind of guy. So he's not gonna put any bets into Card Fight Vanguard, seeing how early of a stage this game is at. Like, and that might just be point one for this video. That Vanguard is we're too early. It's too early. If you want to make like some kind of like sound investment with some kind of stability, you can't do something when it's this early on. It's the risk. It's just way too high risk. So yeah, that might just be a point in itself to make. But yeah, Solemn takes a stance that it's just the Vanguard collectability market is basically non-existent, which directly contrasts the panel argument and the perspective they have. So I want to take a look at the stuff myself, but I want to get into my points. And the reason TCG Player is opened up here is, yeah, like as mentioned, we're going to actually look live at what's going on down there in the bottom. Let's get to this right now, actually. So this is a really helpful tool. If you guys didn't know, you can just advanced search. Down in the basement here, the descent of the King of Knights and the Onslaughts and the Cavalries and the Banquet of Divas, the old trashy Vanguard stuff. Like, we're not looking at the V stuff here. We're looking at the old basement dwellers. So yeah, the Card Fight Vanguard collectability, and this might just be the core point here that I want to bring up. It's that there's no generational level of interest for this card game, and that just might be the only point for this video. If there's any takeaway for this video, you gotta know that there is no generational collectability yet. And what I mean by that is, for Yu-Gi-Oh, for Pokemon, for Magic the Gathering, from firsthand experience, from working in a card store, seeing the kind of people that come in and what they're buying and who they're bringing, these card games have been alive long enough for people who grew up playing these games that now have second generation kids, or maybe they're just in their 30s and whatever, they're reliving their childhood. But either way, they're in like a second generation and they're re-experiencing their childhood and having that kind of nostalgia, generational nostalgia. And that's hard carrying, in my opinion. I'm not a financial expert here, but I think that's hard carrying those games, and why there's such a powerful interest level for them. It's because Pokemon is a nostalgia explosion for people. Magic the Gathering, at F&M's, you'll see like a father bring his kid and actually introduce him to playing Magic for the first time. They play draft. Like, that happens all the time. And that stuff is honestly so beautiful to see, and it's just non-existent for Vanguard. So I am on the side of that Vanguard. It is way too early. That's how I side. You don't have this kind of generational level of engagement that's really hard carrying these kind of games to becoming collectible, because ultimately when you talk about like collectible stuff, the big thing you're really talking about here is, am I making big bucks on my old shit? And you're not going to be making big bucks on your old Vanguard shit, because you're not, no one who's playing Vanguard has hit a generational level of like enough time has not passed for people to start like becoming wealthy enough and nostalgia driven enough to want to buy old Vanguard cards. Like, you can price an old Vanguard card at $10,000, but that doesn't mean it's gonna sell at $10,000. No one wants to touch that kind of shit, because the people who have a huge fascination for it are just not enough. Time has not even passed for the nostalgia to trigger, or for them to even be rich enough, wealthy enough to get into that kind of hobby at that level. So like, like people only talk about collecting and collectability for just the dollar signs. In the end of the day, like, that's what's important to people, that their cards are becoming very valuable. And no way Vanguard's getting to that point yet. I think a lot of the buyouts for Vanguard, first of all, are very ill-advised. They're just people maybe trying to force a narrative that Vanguard is collectible, the old stuff. They're trying to get in on the hype because the other games, the Yu-Gi-Ohs, the Pokemons, and the Magics are getting in on the hype, and they want to bring the hype to Vanguard. Or they just, because honestly, I see some of the new stuff, like, and people call it expensive. I'm just gonna go into it, like, man, like people call like a $900 Night Rose or a $300 Harry as expensive, but like, not to like flex on y'all, that kind of stuff is not expensive compared to the Yu-Gi-Ohs and the Magics and the Pokemons. Like, man, not even close. Like, that stuff is like, some meta cards are actually just that price. So not too promising there, like, as an argument. The Vanguard cards are definitely not expensive enough. And here's the big thing. Like, when there's this like kind of like generational level of nostalgia trigger, the other thing is, like, not only am I like not entirely, I think the word is bullish. Sorry, my English is not great, but like bullish on Vanguard. The thing with the generational argument here is that, you have this big three, this Magic, the Pokemon, and the Yu-Gi-Oh. And honestly, Yu-Gi-Oh is already trailing behind the big two, which is Magic and Pokemon. It is just like the baby of Magic and Pokemon. I'm not confident there's room for a fourth. Like, yeah, there could be room for a fourth in terms of like a game that people play. But in the end of the day, like, think about like Magic fans now have kids, Pokemon fans now have kids, and they introduce their kids to Pokemon. And maybe that kid grows up to want to play Vanguard, and he's like 10 and he has a great time playing Vanguard, but once he hits like 25 and he's trying to relive his childhood, is he going to turn back to Vanguard? Probably not. He's going to go back to like Yu-Gi-Oh or Magic or Pokemon that he ended up playing with his dad and his mom when he was like 4 or 5. Not Vanguard that he picked up at 10, that his parents at that point in his life were just forcing him to try hard in school instead of playing card games. And like, yeah, like, I just don't think that kind of, it's such an uphill battle for Cardfight Vanguard, just because like, you're just never gonna get slotted into like a point where you can build generational levels of nostalgia. I do sometimes see parents play Vanguard with their kids. Like, at our locals, there was a dad who always brought his kids to come play Vanguard, and that was really cool. But that's not nearly as common as Magic and Pokemon, and to an extent Yu-Gi-Oh starting to get that. Like, to me, I almost feel like Yu-Gi-Oh got very lucky that was able to start catching a collectible wave. Because had you asked me like 2 years ago, I would say that Yu-Gi-Oh would never be as collectible as Pokemon and Magic. But here we are today, and it's happening. And that may be an argument for Vanguard, that I never thought Yu-Gi-Oh would end up becoming how it is now. But to be honest, when I was a kid, I played Yu-Gi-Oh with my dad. It was really cool. So maybe Yu-Gi-Oh had that promise all along. But Vanguard, I definitely don't see nearly as much of it. So yeah, I want to just package this up very simply for you guys. I'm not bullish on Vanguard. I think at least for now, I think it's too early to decide. I think the buyouts, like, I do agree with Solemn here. The buyouts for the old Vanguard, if there was some, like, I've seen some like pictures and stuff of the old stuff, like, that's just people trying to speculate, and they're not even that expensive or high. Like, man, people are just buying stuff out. And thirdly, that's really hard for Vanguard to become like truly collectible, because I think the big three is not leaving a lot of room for it to join into the party of like collectible. And for people who now have for people who played Pokemon when they were young, have kids now, and shared those memories of playing Pokemon with their kids, it's hard for Vanguard to join in on the party, because the kids are not going to get the nostalgia triggers from Vanguard. They're going to get it from Pokemon that they played with their parents potentially. So yeah, that's just to summarize the stuff. Now I want to, let's just look. Let's just take a look. Like, yeah, see, like, this stuff is like not even expensive. Like, maybe for Vanguard standards and old stuff, like, you never expect this stuff like old Asura Kaisers to be 55. But like, I guess, yeah, like, okay. Yeah, I think the staff definitely, like, we had this conversation, we had this like meeting chat, and this is why I know this a little bit. We're like, yo, even if Vanguard like is not crazy collectible right now, we gotta, prep for the possibility that it becomes that. And so you will never see me, and you'll never see Strictly price the old SPs at a low price, because it just doesn't make sense, because like we don't gain much from selling it like at a super low price. We're not really looking to like be liquid on these cards. Like, they don't matter to us, so we just keep it like as robust as possible, just to like mitigate the chances that something hype does happen. I know this card, I saw pictures of it being extremely expensive. I know we have it at 400. I know about this one because we always laugh about this. This is kind of like a meme. But again, like, there's like, think about it, why would anyone ever sell like this old like iconic card for cheap? And so like, that's what's like, yeah, it might be collectible in that sense because it is iconic, but you will not get that kind of like powerful levels of collectability to it, because the game is just like, most Vanguard players probably don't even know this card. That's like the crazy thing about it, because it's gotten rebooted once in V, and now we're going to overdress. That like the large player base majority probably doesn't even know this card exists. So like, it being iconic is literally just a bad argument too. It's only for the old dogs. So yeah, like these prices are not even high at the moment. But like, granted, like, some of these SPs are sold out. It's probably hard to get one at this point because no one wants to sell it. Like, man, Blazing Flare Dragon Soul. Like I'm just not seeing it, right? These cards are still like very good amounts of them. And there's like some really big iconic ones. Like, I know this one's super iconic card for me. But the price is just not reflecting anything that's like, there's no, like, I was told that some of the old stuff is like hype as hell. Like, where's the, oh, I already looked at this. Where's the hype as hell stuff? Oh, this one. Yeah, I know this one. This one's really hype. I think, like, honestly, like, if Vanguard ever had like a Blue Eyes, or had like a Charizard, or had like a Lotus, this is it. I think this is it. This card is the most iconic Vanguard card, period. Like, I think there's arguments that it's like King of Knights Alfred, Tsukiyomi, but this card is super iconic. Like, I think this is the first card, because this also got printed as the numbered Phantom Blaster Dragon, so people know this card. They know the old card. Yeah, this is it. Like, if Vanguard like becomes collectible, this is the grail, I think. Big if. Stern Block Luger 50. No, this card's pretty hype. A lot of people like Blouse, so yeah. I mean, let's look at some EBs. Cavalry. Yeah, like, again, like, nothing. Bermuda, maybe. I don't know about Bermuda. Maybe Bermuda has like an angle here for the weebs. Definitely not something like that's like I would ever introduce my kids to. Not that I have kids, but I'm just saying, if, like, when I do, I'm not gonna be like, yo, let's put some Bermuda together. Like, no way. Oh, like, what? Huh? Yeah, like, wait, hold up. Hold up. Chill. All right. Chill. I'm not even signed in. This is like, maybe I'm not gonna check out, but what the heck, man? That's crazy. What is this art? What is this art, bro? Yeah, like, come on, like, a game that has stuff like this always has it going against itself, because if you ever go to mainstream and this kind of stuff gets like heavily noticed, like, I don't think some of this stuff will pass. Like, I don't even want to bring up the new Bermuda stuff, because some of that stuff is really sus. So yeah, like, that's also, I guess, another thing going against the game, that its marketability is kind of poor for like some kind of long-term thing. But then again, Magic has some pretty gruesome arts. Yu-Gi-Oh as well, but Yu-Gi-Oh did a good job of censoring this stuff in TCG. So all in all, I mean, we looked at the old stuff. It's not even like expensive yet. Like, people who are like big Vanguard is a collectible game apologists, like, this is a fucking uphill battle. That battle, like, holy smoke, holy moly, the old stuff is not it. Like, it's cheap, man. There are Pokemon cards that are like low rarity that are, you know, higher. Huh? Yeah, I'm not a. Like, keep in mind, everyone, that the game has this Vanguard has been like play the game as the decks. Like, Vanguard is a gameplay based game. It's not a collectible game. It's a trading card game. Like, in the absolute sense of it. Like, I know Yu-Gi-Oh is a trading card game, but like Yu-Gi-Oh has that. I think biggest argument points for Vanguard is definitely looking at how Yu-Gi-Oh has become, because Yu-Gi-Oh is exactly like Vanguard, and for the longest time it's exactly like how current Vanguard is like. So we'll just have to give it like maybe like another 5-10 years and see. But I am not confident in this game. At least right now, I'd have to see what happens in the next 5-10 years. I just don't know if people would ever like, if this game will ever have that kind of generational level of nostalgia long term. Anyways, that's it for this video. I'm tired of looking at these cards, honestly, and I am tapping out. Oh, this card. Oh, this card used to be, I feel like, kind of collectible. Whatever. Yeah, so that's it. If you guys want to collect Vanguard, like, you know, there's no reason why you can't collect Vanguard, by the way. But holding on collecting Vanguard for stonks, not too sure about that one. Anyways, it's UA signing off. Peace. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Peace.